Coach, your group is 7-2 in these 3 points or less games. What have you been able to do, regardless of the circumstances of how you guys get there, who's been in, who's been out, to come away with wins in those situations?
Just understanding what we're looking for in those games, being able to give these guys a sense of direction is exactly what we're asking for. These guys are executing at the right time, defending at the right time. But then we've also talked about not letting it get there. But this league is good enough that teams play so fast, they find their way back in games. But we've got to continue to do a great job of communicating. Each game is going to be different, but our process has to stay the same.
When you reviewed the film from the last game, what do you think broke down the fourth quarter for you guys?
Yeah, I think for them to come back, I think there were situations, like you said, teams chase the three-point line, and in this league, no lead is safe because of the speed of the game, because of the three-point shots. They got free on a couple open shots. Us coming down, taking early shots in the offense, not moving the ball around like we needed to, and then we missed some easy ones, and that's part of this game as well. But our guys knowing that, to your point, Dan, being 7-2 in those games, you're able to figure out a way to get the job done, even if we are keeping, fans in the seats to the very end.
How much do you balance, like, where you have to play better, but also we're missing two guys like Jalen and Franz? Like, what's the reality?
Beatty, that's a great question. That is a very great question. We talk about next man up. We talk about by committee, and guys are doing their part right now. And as we get more bodies back, it's going to be clunky for a second to get guys back in the fold, but then we will find our rhythm and our groove. So it's a difficult balance to have, and we're not making excuses. So the guys that step on the floor, we're asking and demanding that they play the way we need them to play.
You know how seasons go, there's ups and downs, but how do you evaluate where this team's been at the last 14 games, where you're kind of alternating wins and losses? You're not, you're still kind of treading water, but you're not maybe where you guys want to be.
So that was Beatty's question, just asked in a different way.
A little bit.
So ultimately, it's because different lineups, different rotations, the road, the schedule. You have to balance it game by game, and obviously we've been up and down in each one of those games. We've had games where we played a great basketball, and we have lulls, and that's been how we played over this span. And some of that is due to guys being in and out of the lineup, but we've got to make sure that we continue to stick to the course of what we're doing, stay the course of what we're doing, and I think that's sharing the basketball, defending at a high clip. Understanding what we're doing in end-of-game execution situations, those are all big keys.
These guys have such high expectations for themselves. Like you said, the expectations in the building are bigger than outside the building. How do you keep them focused or avoid frustration when it's not all clicking together at this point?
You speak the truth. It'd be nice to just go ideal and say it should look like this. Well, the reality is this is what it looks like right now. Up, down, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. How do we play consistent basketball? And that happens when you get a consistent rotation. It happens when you get consistent players in the lineup, and that's just what we're in right now. And our guys understand that, and that's the truth we speak to them. And how do you bounce out of it? You communicate with one another. You talk about the things that are in front of you, and then you handle it the right way.
How do you like your group's communication through those things, pointing out, some of the positives and negatives through with the wins and losses?
Absolutely. You have to speak the truth about all these things because otherwise you don't solve it. We just talked this morning in our film session about when Franz comes back, when Mo comes back, when Jalen comes back. We've been in this situation before. And so you have to learn and take something from those moments. And it's going to be clunky at first, but you take something from that. We've been through that experience that you learn from, and then you take off running.
What has Franz been able to do recently? Where is he at?
Franz has been on the court doing a little bit more, a little bit of contact stuff, just getting his cardio and conditioning up on the court.
What's the next step for him?
Continue the same and see how he responds to the treatment.
Where's Mo? Obviously, a different injury, much longer recovery time. Now a year removed from his surgical procedure a year ago yesterday. What has he been able to do?
He's been on the court. He's been done some 2-on-2, 3-on-3, playing some games, doing some contact stuff. So he's slowly working his way back, and it's just always going to depend on how they respond to those days what we put in front of them.
How do you guys balance, like, we want to make sure they're both healthy, they're both right, but also there's a big game coming up in Berlin that I would think they want to be on the court for. You guys want them on the court for that. What's the challenge there?
The challenge in that is you think long term. You want them to be ready for that Berlin game. They want to be ready for that Berlin game, and that's a big key, and that's the ideal world. But then the reality of what we're facing is the fact that you want them to be ready for the long game as well. Like, we have a long season ahead of us, and you want them to be prepared and healthy as possible walking into each one of those games from then on.
Has Mo been able to do any contact yet?
Yes.
And what was Jace able to do this morning that's questionable tonight?
Jace is getting some shots up right now, just doing some pick and roll work, seeing how he moves off that ankle, off his body.
You mentioned talking to the team about when Franz comes back, when Mo comes back, when Suggs comes back. Is that a signal that you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you know, you're beginning to prepare for that?
I mean, in my mind, yes, but like I said, it always depends on how they respond to the treatment that they're going through.
And then, this Philly team tonight, they got a lot of guys back. What are you seeing out of them as they put their unit together, much like you're talking about?
Yeah, they've got the group that are playing good basketball, very good basketball, as a matter of fact. I mean, they've got their guys that are, obviously Edgecombe's playing great. Maxi's playing at MVP level. Embiid is being back in the fold. Paul George getting his legs back underneath him. I think they've got scoring options everywhere. They create matchup problems all over the floor. So I think they're playing at a really good clip, and we've got to make sure that we're defending the right way, following the game plan, and then doing what we know we are capable of doing on both sides of the ball.
We're almost halfway through the season, so it might be a little early for this, but do you recognize or highlight the standings implications? It's the last game against Philadelphia. Winner takes the season series, could matter in March and April. Like, is that something that's weighing on the mind here?
No.
That's why I asked.
No. A good question. Thank you all. Appreciate it.